Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Joan.
Welcome to Girl Awakening Wednesday.
Yes, and we have a most wonderful guest today to I think, the stepping into the new world, the new energies is
Mm,
very tangible at this time, and I feel our guest today is going to be very much in line with what everybody may have illusions about, beliefs in,
mm.
connections with themselves. I feel like today is going to be very activating in all the ways.
Oh, absolutely. Just reading
Mm.
through her bio, and it's like an activation in itself. So it's so
Mm.
nice to have this beautiful lady join us. So today we have Maria Martinez, architect of soul liberation. Born awake to a reality of interwoven with the unseen, Maria Martinez has navigated the tapestry of dimensions and timelines since childhood. Descended from a lineage of powerful shamans, she embodies an ancient wisdom that transcends the confines of ordinary perception. Guided by archangels, ascended masters, and luminous beings from across the cosmos, she has received the wisdom of the Galactic Federation, the Order of Mary Magdalene, and the Order of Melchizedek.
Today is it?
Yes,
Well, actually,
Melchizedek.
yes,
Melchizedek.
thank you. Oh, that just tricks the tongue every time. So, welcome, Maria, to Girl Awakening podcast. We are honored to sit with you
Mhm.
today and hear your story because we know, as we've read a little bit already, that it is going to be profound and just amazing to listen to.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. So there's a lot to share with where you've journeyed in this time on Earth so far. So we're going to start with the very simple question of how did your awakening begin?
How did it begin? As long as I can remember, I've been in multiple worlds at one time. I still am. Um, but the age of 5, 6 years old, I started going on missions with my guides and my angels. So prior to that, I already had the awareness, my clairvoyance, my clairaudience, all my clairs were already open. And for me, that was very natural to be in that space. And I think for a long time, I thought we were all aware of that aspect of ourselves in that supernatural way.
Mm.
Earlier on, my guides started coming in, and they felt very familiar. They felt like long time friends. They felt like family to me. So I never really questioned that. And on the missions that we went, it was always amazing. It was liberating other spirits, other souls, retrieving fragments from multiple dimensions across time and space, and bringing them back to their totality. I learned early on that my mission was to help humanity, and then that evolved into the cosmos, but to own our authority, live our sovereignty,
Mm.
be our full potential, and
Mm,
have access to everything that we are from source creation.
Mm.
And that my earlier years in my awakening or my realization of living in multiple worlds was that there was so much of that needed to happen, so much of support in the area of liberating and restoring and retrieving and awakening others to their truth, to responsibility, to creation, to authority, to living their greatest life. And
mm,
also throughout those years and now, which is part of my work, realizing that we were so far away from that. We were so far away from the light, from our true original creation. And that is not very hard to get there. Once we know that path and once we make that decision, and once we commit and devote ourselves to that embodiment and alignment, it's beautiful and amazing and powerful and available to everybody.
I love that you're saying that so with so much conviction.
Mm.
It's so powerful. How does that look for you? Like how does your day play out with you, knowing all of that, having all of that information?
Mm.
How does a day look for you?
Very interesting. So, like for instance, I'm sitting here and I can already see other beings coming in, standing around me, standing around you. So the veil just disappears.
Ah,
And I can see time and space. I can see beings that are not quite from our lifetime. I can see fragments of our souls that have a connection and are coming back in the conversation that we're having because it is an activation. So for me, let me see if I can paint you a picture.
mhm.
Uh, it's uh, it's almost like an overlay of different realities at one time, but there's no density in between.
Oh,
And you can see them
nice.
clearly. You can see the separation, but you can see also the overlap of the lessons that we're learning,
Mhm.
and uh, also, what we came here to work through. You
Mhm.
can see it in different lifetimes. This is the work that I do with many people. When we sit together in a session, we open up other timelines. And it's like an accordion, like
Yeah.
open up your files, and then we open up everything. We open up their past lives, and we look for everything that is out of balance. So it's seeing everything all at once.
Mhm.
So you can see yourself as your self-actualized version of you, and you can see yourself as a part of you that wants to evolve, that is ready to evolve. And you can see the parts of you that have forgotten, that
Mm.
are a little bit lost, and and in your own intention of completeness and coming back into integration and wholeness and alignment, all those parts of you come back to you.
Mm.
So, when I'm working with a client, as I go into different situations, I can see a lot of this information. It's like accessing the Akash, accessing the Hall of Records, accessing all of the information at once. And then you just take what you need in that moment to move the person forward or move yourself forward.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And and in your information that came through with you, you share around being from a long line of shamans and in your ancestry. So was your environment as a child supportive um of being 5 or 6 and having, feeling comfortable with this universal um awareness? Was your environment supportive of that?
It was and it wasn't. So I moved here from Mexico. I moved to the States from Mexico. So living in a different place, there's an assimilation, or there's a getting used to, there's a, you know, um, getting to know the culture. So there was that part. So I was disconnected from my grandfather, who is a shaman. It was a shaman who's passed away. And my mother kind of put that aside. She was also very gifted. She still is very gifted. So she kind of put that part of herself on hold to survive, to create a new life for ourselves. So, you know, growing up and seeing my grandfather and being around him, it was very natural to see, the light and his strength and his abilities. Um, and I feel like part of that, though I didn't spend a lot of time with him in my childhood, I feel like I came in with the knowing, and then he was there. And the time together, even though it was short, it helped build that foundation for me. And then we moved away, and there was a behind the scenes, this is who you are, but when you get out into the world, then this is who you are.
Yeah.
Um, and about the age of 18, earlier on, at the age of 8, one of our families introduced us to a shaman. And when she saw me, she told my mom that I was very gifted, that I was already doing a lot of work in the astral plane, she was describing my missions that I was doing already, and that I consciously didn't know or remember everything. And she wanted to give me some tools. So then, as the conscious being, I would be able to work with setting good, healthy boundaries. So that's when I first started my initiation to shamanism at the age of 8. And I started my actual training when I was 18, 19 in college. because things were really getting out of hand when I was in college. It was, again, I had to move away, so that would create a little bit of shock, and shock is an expansion, and it stretches you, it makes you grow, it shifts a lot within you and opens up a lot of things. So I was sitting in my desk, and then I see all these beings coming in. Some of them were of the light, some of them were not, and some of them were disruptive, some of them were not. So I came back home and I told my mom, I said, this is a part of me. I need to master this
Mm.
and see and what figure out what I'm going to do moving forward. What am I going to use this? So that's when I started my training at the age of 18, 19, with our friend who was a shaman. And it was very interesting because she was a channeler. So when I would go over to her house, she would have everything set up. And it was basically what I was already doing as a child. We would go on missions,
Mm.
except that I wasn't going with her. She was channeling somebody. So she would channel different beings, and I would go with them on the mission. And she often channeled Mother Mary. She often channeled Mary Magdalene, and she channeled other beings.
Wow.
Um, so it was really amazing. Yeah, and I was very young to really appreciate it. For me, it was just fun. This is something that's always fun. I went over, we did this, it was fun. But now I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was going to say all the time spent, majority of the people these days are out trying to clear their own way through to even attempt to connect. And then, we're having these beautiful people come through like yourself now that are
Mm.
just naturally attuned to all that's happening outside of the norm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of young people like socializing and going to the mall and parties and things like that to have experiences, whereas your experiences are all with spirit and channeling, etc. It's quite a contrast to as an 18, 19-year-old
Yeah,
to, remember your childhood feelings of how this feels familiar and safe as
Yeah.
well and welcome
Yeah.
it in. Mm-hmm.
It was very beautiful. I mean, I look back and I'm like, that was so amazing. I'm just so lucky to have found her, met her at that early age, because my grandfather was still in Mexico. And though my grandfather would come and visit me in the astral plane, and then eventually my grandmother as well, and we would go to a place. It was this beautiful place in the meadow, and it had a hill, and they had a little like cottage on the hill, and all around that space there were a lot of herbs. So when I'd come to visit them, they teach me about the herbs. And my grandmother would encourage me to really learn about the herbs. So later in my years, I got a master's in Ayurveda.
oh,
Um, so it was just really amazing how they, in many ways, they've helped me awaken that knowledge. They
yeah.
helped me awaken connection with source and connection with the divine and everything that I came here to do and then serve. And one of the things that really for me was really memorable of my grandfather, because he was very strong, devoted, and very powerful. He embodied his divine nature. And of course, he was in the human body, but he did a lot of amazing things in our town. Uh, took care of a lot of people, helped a lot of people, resolved a lot of issues, and especially in the early years during the revolution, um, he stood up for what was right, justice, and then he had this other spiritual side of him where he healed many people. So it was just amazing the life that he lived, and then my mom and her sister and other siblings inherited that gift, and that gift was passed on to me.
Mm.
It's a
Wow.
quite a beautiful, I guess, feeling of that familial kind of lineage, to have that awareness and not have it be a mystery, and have knowledge of your family. As you talk around your father's embodiment, you can almost picture him and feel his energy in this village, and that gift that the village, how much that must have meant to the village to have his strength present for
Hmm.
them all, and his grace in sharing it with everybody.
Yeah, it's a beautiful legacy.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Sorry, you
Keep
go.
going. No,
I
no.
was just going to ask,
Mm.
with the knowledge that you had growing up, especially as a young child, what have you decided to change in your world, if anything, to, you know, to kind of hold on to that magic and not being swept up into the world and the system of the world, or the planet, the prison of the planet?
That's a really good question. And I think for all of us light workers, even though we remember, we still have things to work through, right? We still come here to learn, go through our lessons. And earlier on, again, moving to a new place and feeling I had to assimilate and being told that I had to assimilate, going to school, doing well in school, and then eventually to college, and then eventually to corporate America. I moved away actually a lot from who I really was to compete in the world.
Yeah.
And it was fulfilling to a degree, but when it was no longer fulfilling, that's where I felt, I want to come back to who I am. I really need to come back to who I am. I was very successful. I enjoyed what I did in sales and training and facilitating. Um, but I felt like there was always something missing. There was always that, like a little gap, where you don't truly feel fulfilled, like you're really aligned with your mission and your purpose. And then after corporate America, I had my twins and then my third child. And when they came into my life, I feel like that was the spark to, you need to be more, like you really need to step into more. You like, now you're gonna be the model for them. Now the way you live is what they're gonna learn. So is this what you're gonna teach them? To kind of settle or to compete in this world or to truly be you. And that's when I started moving back to source, to my alignment, to connecting back to who I was. And yes, I continue to go through my lessons like everybody else, through heartbreak and recovering and forgiving and realizing that you don't need anyone to fill you up to be happy. That is always your choice. And realizing that you're always enough, that you've been enough from the time of creation, and realizing that everything is your choice and you're the one that's creating your reality, and that nobody is really allowed to creating your reality unless you allowed them to. So through all these lessons and through my divorce and starting over, and then really going deeply and like having I guess a meeting with my higher self and realizing, okay, what's the path forward? What is this? How am I coming back who I truly am? And then living from that place and then serving from that place as well. And then completely surrendering to that and letting the divine with me and all around me to not just guide me, but to bring me. Because when you start something new, there's always fear. Is it going to work? Is this the right path? So learning to practice radical trust, learning to practice surrender, learning to practice allowing yourself to be guided. So that was amazing. And yeah, it's just, obviously I wouldn't change it for the world, any of that, because now I'm here doing what I came here to do, and I get to teach from all of that.
Yeah, I can feel the level of excitement just with you sharing that. The energy just went up a level just with you stepping into that space of excitement and the challenge itself. We know that with the podcast, we've spoken to hundreds of women who have said very similar things to yourself around going off track. Either their body will let them know, either through a disease or a sickness or an illness, or they'll get a quite a big bang or a whack from the universe to say, hey, you're on the wrong track. So just listening to you share that, then it's like, yeah, the universe is so magical in the way that it can steer us back. Sometimes we have to walk back through the fire, but it's all part of just it bringing you back in line. And that excitement that you just showed us then was, what the gift is that comes from doing that.
Yeah, and I tell my clients, the universe is not trying to take you out. The universe is trying to help you move to that next level of you. From that perspective of what we currently know, it may appear that way, but in actuality, if you look at it as an opportunity, it is truly an opportunity. It's a breakthrough waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And to your point, I went through everything, through financial loss, through divorce, all of it. And again, I just kept leaning forward, and trusting everything to come through. And yes, the universe gave me indications of this is not the right path. Things would get delayed. So it was, I mean, I look back and I say how wonderful it was to know and have that relationship with the universe,
Mm,
and to speak from that and teach from that place, and then to see it when it's happening around me and with my clients when they're sharing their situation, and I can see this. Okay,
mm.
that seems very familiar. I remember that, and yes, don't worry, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, no,
Your
absolutely.
your words, radical trust, just
Yeah.
create such a reverberation through your being when you said that, and when you repeat it to yourself. There's such a true energy in those two words that
Mm.
are both affirming and exhilarating at the same time.
Yeah. Radical trust, radical surrender, leaning forward,
Yeah,
letting go.
absolutely right.
Um,
Mm.
And also just with you can have all of this help out here, like that you do have, then you've had since you were a very young girl.
Mhm.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be you're going to have the most wonderful path on this planet going forward. It's like it doesn't matter how much we kind of know. It's like how much are we willing that
Mm.
responsibility, the radical responsibility, how much are we willing to,
Step into.
step into
Mm.
at on this planet and be able to utilize it all, because it's yeah, it's a tricky situation.
Can be a distraction as well. Do you feel, Maria, to not engage?
yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely, because it feels so wonderful not to be here, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of my mission too. It's bridging, right? It's bridging. It's being able to access everything, but bringing it in here to the 3D and actualizing it around in your life. And yes, it's so wonderful to be with the divine and surrounded by beautiful beings and receiving downloads. But then what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
How are you going to live your life? How are you going to be of service with everything that you're receiving and everything that you're upgrading within yourself? Because truly that's what we're here, right?
Mm.
To be a beacon, or to be the light, or to be truth, or to simply be.
Mm.
But we need to bring it and anchor it into the 3D. So bridging it is so important. And especially when things are challenging is when we try to run away,
Mm.
or when things are not working out for us. It feels so much better to be there. But we are here,
Yeah.
and many times we have responsibilities here. So we want to be who we're meant to be for everything that we're here for, whether it's our family or children or the people that we're serving, or Mother Earth.
Yeah.
We want to step with conviction,
Yeah.
with determination, with total devotion to who we are, fearless
Mm.
and unstoppable and limitless into who we are, because we are creating our reality. So currently whatever is showing up is what we're creating. We don't like it, we change it.
Yeah.
We delete and create.
Yep.
We move things out of the way. We complete some things, and then we keep adding things because we're the ones that are adding the ingredients into it. The way we relate to the world it's internal. So it comes from what's already there. To change what's outside, we change what's inside. And once we realize that we can do that so easily, we can keep doing it over and over. We can keep expanding and
Mm.
expanding into something bigger and greater. And we impact so many people, and we impact the world in so many ways when we do that.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
yeah.
How do you, I'm totally with you and resonating with
Hmm.
everything you're saying. How do you hold that space? Like, how do you continually, what do you do?
What's your
What
practice?
is your practice to hold the space, to have you keep moving and allowing that?
Yeah. Uh, a couple of things. So we start with the vision. So we want to have, first of all, balance. We want to have balance in who we are, balance in what we want to create in our life, and we want to have a clear picture. So that's our destination. And then we want to have the intention. The intention is what I was talking about, the devotion, the commitment, the the focus, and then the action moving forward. And the action could be, I get up and I take one step at a time, or I have a clear plan that I'm following here. But the most important thing is to not just wake up and hope that everything is going to figure itself out, because that's how we're also creating. We either create intentionally or unintentionally. So we want to understand that to bridge everything, everything that we are and everything that we're meant to bring through and everything that we're creating and all the ways that we're serving, we want to have a picture, first of all, of who we are in this life, or who we're becoming in this lifetime, who we are as a divine being and as a human being, and then the alignment between the two. And then after that is, what is our reality that we want to live into? Joyful, happiness, fulfilled, in service to other, contributing to the world, awakening, men or women, like having that clear picture. And then the how. Is, are we talking to individuals, or am I doing meditation? So again, how we're serving, how we're taking those steps forward, and doing it every single day. So having a routine that allows us to be first physically, emotionally ready, spiritually and energetically ready for our day. And then as we prepare for our day, living that new identity that we're becoming. So the clear vision, the who we're becoming, which is the new identity that we're adopting in that alignment of the divine and the divine human. And then the action forward, which is the steps. Part of the steps are the practices that we have within our own self-awareness, either mindfulness, meditation, taking care of our body, journaling, affirmations, whatever that is, that gets us enthusiastic about life, gets us inspired about life, gets us motivated about life, brings joy into our life, allows us to feel just on fire. Getting like, that is that thing that gets you up in the morning. Like you wake up and you're ready to go because you're up to something. That even if you don't have a client waiting for you or somebody that you're serving at that moment, you have this inspiration, this desire to get up and be.
Yeah.
Be the greatest version of you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I get this in that embodiment process, just this vision of decluttering and taking on a whole new level of meaning to make that space of simply being and be able to create those pathways that you just shared.
Yeah, that I feel like the beingness is the biggest part of creation. When we talk about manifestation, there's a formula, right? Because there's the first knowing what you want to create.
Yeah.
So you create your intention around that. And then there's everything that's kept you from that. So that's the clearing that needs to happen there. And then the alchemy. So if you have any contracts, if you have any agreements, then it's that. And then it's your emotional alignment, your self-worth, your worthiness, your deservingness. Are you able to hold and sustain that? And then is your commitment to having it. So that's the mental, right? The pushing yourself forward, like saying, I'm not going to tolerate anything less than this. So the different parts of you that come together to create that new reality, to manifest that new you, and that alignment within yourself that knows exactly who you are and what you deserve. So that it's that knowing within you. And that knowing is, you're an infinite being of light. So you keep embodying the next level of you, and then the next level of you, and the next level of you. When you have those steps, or when you realize, yeah, manifestation is easy, or creating a new reality is easy, these are the steps, and I just continue, because it becomes very naturally to do them when you're in that state of ascension, or when in your state of evolution, when in your state of being the best version of you. It's the being that keeps you moving forward in that alchemy, that transformation, that stepping into the next level of service and contribution to others.
This is so powerful what you're talking about. So I understand the beingness. I see that, and I hear what you're saying. I'm just speaking for myself. I've been noticing these nuances of like almost like human patterns that have been being shown to me that have stopped me from moving into the areas that I want to move into. So is that part of the energy clearing work that you're saying that you do as well, where you go in and you clear out these? It feels almost like a veil of something I've been looking through. Um, I mean, even around money, I mean, I know you work a lot around abundance, and I know a lot of the people on the planet have a lot of stuff, and I believe that's another system in itself. But the area of abundance and the patterns or beliefs that we have around money, um, that sits so quietly, that we don't even know half the time that they're sitting there. So to set an intention, there seems to be a block there. I hope
Yeah.
you're getting what I'm saying here. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's very subtle, but there's patterns and beliefs that sit like just as thin layers over us that we're unaware. So we have a vision and an intention and we have all these things there, but we can't get to them. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Or are they based on the beingness, or are they based on the
Well, I don't
still?
think, yeah, I don't
Well,
think,
it's the multidimensional body.
yeah,
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So when we work with really anything that we're creating, we want to remember that we're not just one part, right? We have the physical part, we have the mental, the emotional, the energetic, we have the soul and the spirit, because I see them separately. We have the light body. So when we do work, whether it's clearing something to manifest something or to create a new reality or to heal, we go through all these layers of, first of all, where is it in which body, then what is it in each body, and they are so intertwined that the emotional stuff could be in the spirit, the mental could be in the soul. So we want to kind of unravel and kind of bring everything up to the surface, and then we want to organize it back, and then we want to clear it or calibrate it.
yes,
To your question about um, understanding, yes, we can have the intention, but it's not just the intention. Intention only gets us so far. Intention is the mental body.
yeah.
And then the worthiness and deservingness, that's the emotional body. And then the soul and spirit and energetic body, that's the alchemy and the clearing that we do. But then there's the other part of us that, the light body that has the information from many other lifetimes that maybe we're not getting to. So as you were talking, I was just tuning into what you were referring to, and I was picking up your inner child. So that's part of the alchemy. That's part of clearing that we do, right? So we do the inner child work. So we go not just into this lifetime and not just into the timelines before this time, but all your incarnations. We find the child that is trapped in those incarnations
Wow.
that has been fragmented, that is still holding on to the trauma, that was told that she didn't deserve, or she couldn't create, or she couldn't have power over money or money management, power over herself, her gifts, or her talents, or her ability to create. So we go in and first of all, we awaken her to the light and to her infinite knowing and knowledge, and we connect it back to the divine. And then we, from that point, so that the point of origin, we integrate all the way through to this timeline. So it's like, it's like all these timelines coming
Yeah.
at you all at once, because we're finding them wherever they are. And there's an upgrade that happens. There's the DNA upgrade that happens in that moment. So that's that part. And then, of course, we look at the karma, which is not quite your inner child, but it could be your inner child. It's another part of you. Maybe it's a later adult part of you that made certain decisions in other lifetimes and other timelines, or the life review. At the life review, when you look back and life wasn't so great because you did step out into the world with your expression of yourself, and you weren't welcome, or you were persecuted, and you made a decision of I
Mm,
would never do that again. So you hide that in the next timeline. You do
yes.
everything to protect that. You do everything or things to sabotage yourself when you're stepping out into the light. So we uncover all of those things, and we heal, we complete, we uncreate. And then, of course, you have your ancestral contracts,
Yeah.
whatever they came in that you took on, that you agreed to. So we go through all of these steps, and it's not a lot, but it's again, it's very powerful
Mm.
to do, and you can feel within yourself. the vibration within you as you're sort of releasing those layers that you're working through, and as you're reintegrating the parts of yourself, and as you're giving back the contracts and agreements that no longer belong to you. And as you're inviting everybody else around you to step into the new level of awareness and enlightenment. So you're not just healing yourself, but you're inviting everybody else to heal. So you're collapsing so many timelines. You're collapsing for yourself and for others. So it's really powerful. The whole process is really powerful. When I do this work, I get really hot. So I can already feel it.
I'm loving it.
I can feel the energy moving through my body. It's like in the resonance with everything you're saying. It's like everything is very, it's very tangible, the spaces that you work in. We can see your energy shifting.
Yeah. And it's like, it's when you're talking about it, like I can feel how you can be, and you have permission, you have my permission to go wherever you need to go, but I can feel you moving things. But as you're talking, it's like, oh, this is going to take forever. It's going to take a lifetime, as it feels like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it feels like it, but it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
You get to a place, and especially if we look at it all at once, you earlier you asked me, how does this look like for you?
Yes.
Everything all at once, right? So we're opening everything all at once, and you are an infinite being, and you're omnipresent, so you're everywhere all at once. We don't need to do one at a time as we move forward. And then we integrate the knowledge and wisdom, and you keep upgrading, up leveling. And then we do that not just for the spiritual, the energetic, the soul, but we do that at the mental and the emotional and the physical level, which is this part here in the 3D. So when the mind starts accepting, I am limitless. So we're also reprogramming the mind as we're healing those other parts of you. If the mind begins to accept, okay, I am limitless. I understand that I created my reality. Okay, I understand that the words that I say create. So I understand that I can shift the words that I use to create something different. And so it's also a calibration, a reprogramming, or an uncreating, or a letting go of old belief systems. But it becomes so easy to do because then your mind knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're telling your mind you have permission. Remember, you already know how to do this. You've been doing this whole time. Now we're going to do it, but we're going to do it in a way that serves us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going, Maria.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then you introduce again now the new reality, and then with the emotional body, when the emotions are coming up, the emotions could be a trigger of what's new, what the new breakthrough is, or it could be indication that there's still another layer to clear. But it's just information. So when I work with somebody, teach everybody just to understand, it's just information. It's not telling you not to do it. And it's telling you that this is not in alignment with you. It's just giving you an indication to keep opening up for more. And your body's just telling you that it's not quite used to the new you, and that it's still catching up to the new you. So when we integrate everything, and we elevate and we upgrade and we calibrate, and we do this at different levels, all at once and multiple dimensions, but we also go up to higher dimensions, and we also work with the divine directly. Sometimes as luminous beings of light that are awakening within ourselves codes that help us with everything that we're here to do, especially with our work with the world and the universe. So it's really powerful. And to your point again, you feel the transformation immediately. And yes, there may be more, but those are lower levels. But in that transformation, you already feel yourself at the next level. You already feel your forward movement. You already see yourself. And you even have opened up more of your potential.
That's literally what I was feeling when you were talking, and you could see your energy shifting in yourself too, and the heat that was coming in the space was freedom that was coming with the words and the energy, the resonance and the energy moving through the body. It was kind of like what it must feel like to tap into that free energy, that 0 point energy that's available, like that true existence, if you like, a hint of what it's like, I guess, of where you're moving in these worlds. It's like that. I think in your bio you talk about Elohim and embodying the creative power of the universe, weaving together the threads of reality to help individuals reclaim their cosmic sovereignty. That's what I was feeling when you were talking, was just that weaving, and the body was just opening up to receive. And as you say, it was kind of like an instant connection with that energy and time and space, not time, not space.
Yeah, it's really beautiful and powerful to play in the quantum field.
Yeah.
And once you're there, to know like, wow, everything is possible for me.
Yeah.
Whatever I want, it's already available to me, and all it is a shift in my frequency.
Yes.
And how quick that can happen too, as we can have this conversation and even be communicating into this realm and be able to leave here and something shifted outside the door when we
Absolutely.
yeah, I love that. And the other thing I wanted to say, the what was it? Oh no, it's slipped. It's gone.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. It was around the quantum field and around things all happening simultaneously. There's a lot more proof of that happening. I mean, we know that, but there's a lot more proof coming out that, you know, there's many of us, our lifetimes happening simultaneously. So we can change something here, having this communication, and it can shift a whole lot more out there as well. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It just came in.
We just needed to let you talk long enough and it would come back in.
And when we are communicating into this space, this is the space that opens up our gifts as well. Is that right?
Yes, because it's the space of infinite possibility, infinite potentiality, infinite probability. And we do have a say in it. So once we're there, you know, we know all of us are supernatural. We know that we are divine creation. We know that we were created fully expressed, and throughout time we separated, we forgot. So when we're in this space, we can easily come back to that connection, to that awakening, like integrate that part of ourselves, because it is already there. It doesn't need to be found, or it doesn't need to be earned or anything of that sort. It's already there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I work with somebody, they'll say, oh, I don't see anything, or I don't feel anything. And then we're talking and I'm asking them, well, what's coming up for you? What are you feeling? What are you seeing? And they start telling me all these images of things that I'm also seeing. And I just kind of stay back, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right. I can see now. I can feel now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I love this.
Can I ask, with where we touched on briefly before with the abundance, money, wealth, prosperity, because I just love the wholeness of how you're working with people in service and the bridging. And I see that there's a lot of discussion over time around money and prosperity and wealth, and where we're sitting at the moment, and what you're bringing to light for us all in this conversation. Where is the money abundance? I mean, obviously that's a block in one of those energy fields, the soul, the spirit, the light body, the mind. But where you're talking about it in this space, it's a part of the holistic activation of the being, isn't it? As opposed to let's make you wealthy kind of thing. Is that
Right. So abundance is who we are, right? Because creation is an infinite abundant source. So we are creation itself, or the extension, the reflection, everything that creation is, we are. So we are naturally already abundant. But a lot of times it has to do with the perspective we have about abundance, the perspective we have about wealth, and then everything else that we learned about it. We have to earn it, or we have to create it, or you have to have a degree, or you have to work so hard, or only certain people. So all the belief systems that create the energy blockages to having. So when I'm working with somebody to create more, I look at their set points. I look at their relationship with money, wealth, abundance, and prosperity, and I separate them because sometimes they have a different perspective. And I also look at their ability to attract, their ability to receive it, so they can attract it, but that they can actually, does it actually come in? And then can they actually hold it? And then for how long? Can they hold it for a little bit, and then an emergency comes up and then that money goes out? Can they build it? Can they grow it to create legacy wealth, generational wealth, to create true wealth? The abundance and prosperity, everything is a frequency, and a source frequency, but we've given it sort of a designation or an intention. We are source frequency. Therefore, everything is available to us. Everything is us. We are abundance itself. When we begin to align with that, and we move away from whether I'm worthy or not worthy, and we accept that we are, then we're elevating our vibration. We're tuning our frequency to abundance. And abundance is whatever we decide, right? That's why I ask, what is your idea of abundance? What is your idea of wealth? Because we all have a different idea. When we begin to move into that space, we realize that it's a natural flow of our energy. We realize that it comes from within us, that we're actually the source of it because we are source. We're the expression of source. And we also realize that there's more than enough for everybody. So when we live that in that state of consciousness of there's more than enough for everybody, and we're actually the source, when we decide we want to create something and we align with that, and it's good for us and good for everybody, good for humanity, the universe will orchestrate that coming to us in a very easy, beautiful, and powerful way. And the more we ask, and again, good for us, good for everybody. And what I mean by that is that, we're not just, to your point, we're not just getting wealthy just to have material possession. It's like, so I can have the freedom to serve others, or so that I can take care of my family, or, when it doesn't come from lack, when it doesn't come from greed, it comes to you very easily once you align with it, because it's a frequency, because it's already your true nature. Things that I see that are blocking that are, again, poverty contracts, karmic contracts, ancestral contracts, the beliefs around it, the conditions around it, the set points. So conditions and set points, a lot of it has to do with your worthiness and deservingness, what you believe you're worth, or worthy of, or what you believe you deserve. So that creates set points around you. So basically, you're not allowing the fountain to flow. You're limiting the fountain. You're like, okay, that's enough. And that's enough. So when you allow it to flow, then you will always have enough to do whatever you want, for your freedom, for your joy, for your fulfillment, for your service, for your contribution, for your philanthropy, for your travel, for your charitable work, for, to serve many and not ever worry about money.
Wow.
The infinity
Yes.
of service and connection. It's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And do you find, has it been a beautiful journey to inspire your children in this space? Like, do you find that can you see the gifts that you're experiencing come through in your own children?
Oh, yes.
That's amazing.
Since they were little, clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant. I play remote viewing games with them, and they're very good.
Oh, wow. I love the remote viewing. I've been watching a lot of this around. I think I was supposed to ask this question.
Yeah, I think so.
I've been holding back, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just because you've just
opened the
you've
door.
opened the door. This term called prison planet, that we're living on a prison planet. And that, speaking of the abundance and the blockages and all of that, and how, the Earth is the hardest planet or the most challenging planet, and that, us that have agreed to come here, we're basically being born into a prison. What are your thoughts around that?
I feel like that's a perspective.
Yep.
So when I think about being born, I feel like came to this planet, I feel I chose to be here.
Yep.
When I track back to the soul level, to the higher self level, I can see all the incarnations and I can see everything that I've chosen. So if we say that this is a prison, then we're victims. But we're not victims. We're not victims to anything. We're actually the masters of our destiny. We're creating unconsciously or unconsciously. And the sooner we awaken to your creative power, or the sooner we move into master and creative power, then our life is going to be whatever we want it to be. So to your point about that, I don't see it that way. However,
Mm.
so my early mission as a child was working with spirits here on Earth. My now evolved mission is to work outside
Yeah.
with the galaxies. So I still work for humanity as a guardian, as a protector, as an architect, as a flame holder, to free humanity from entity interferences from other planets and other galaxies.
Yeah.
So is this a prison? Not really, but is it enticing for other beings to come in and siphon and take from and manipulate and control and jail and capture? Yes. And that's the work that I've been doing for many, 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 many lifetimes. Awakening, protecting, helping humanity step into their sovereignty. Because if you're a sovereign being, then when an entity and alien beings come in and wants to siphon your life force, your energy, wants to implant something, then the likelihood of that is going to be, a smaller percentage of what it is now, because a lot of times we're not aware that that's happening. So the work that I do now, a lot of it is clearing Anunnakis, reptilians, draconians, archons, other beings that are coming in, other snake beings, other insectoid beings, just different demonic beings, both from the lower dimension and from other galaxies. So no, we're not. This is not a prison, and we're not victims. But we do need to awaken,
Yeah.
and we need to step into our power, and we need to take charge of the reality that we're living, and we need to embody our full potential and our gifts and our talents, and align with the highest version of ourselves, because that's what's going to change what's happening behind the scenes that many people don't know about.
Yeah,
Well, that's
beautiful. Yeah, thank
exactly,
you.
you've just relayed exactly what I watched, because the gentleman was talking about exactly that the victim is what they want us to play. That's where they want us to play. So then the outer entities can come in and suck the energy from us, blah, 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 blah. But the role was, or the choice was to step up and step into our sovereignty and our power and who we really are. So you just basically said exactly what I watched. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah,
clarifying that. Yeah.
absolutely. And they've interfered at every level, financially as well.
Yeah.
If we're wealthy and we're financially intelligent or smart or wise, then we thrive and we succeed and we grow. So how do you keep somebody oppressed? By taking their power or taking their resources away, or their ability to believe that they can create. The same thing in our health, in our vitality. If we were always in our fully optimal body, then we would be fully activated, our DNA would be fully activated, and we would be very powerful, even more powerful than they are. Or we are more powerful. So, it's the illusion, it's the dream state, it's the deception and manipulation, the mind control that is happening, that
Oh,
it's keeps them in play, but now a lot of us are awakening and disrupting that and releasing that and removing that and being that light for a lot of us.
so you're in America, aren't you, right now?
Yes.
Yes. So I straight away, when you're talking about all this, I think of the US government, or what
any
was.
government, really. Like, it's basically the macro on the micro macro on Earth of the cosmos, isn't it? Like the galactic
Yes.
relationships being played out through the leadership roles in the political arenas, and you can see all that just hearing you talk is so clear, isn't it?
So
Absolutely.
or has there been dark entities within the US government?
Lots, and not just, I mean, in many agencies and many organizations around the world, there have been many, and especially in the times of war and natural disasters or disasters, there's always, at least when I've looked at it, there has been a play, a darker being or an alien being at play, manipulating, influencing, whispering, disrupting, or creating chaos or creating confusion. So yes, around the world.
Yeah.
Short answer, yes.
And around other worlds as well.
Wow. So you would have to have quite a protection.
That was my thoughts,
yeah,
yeah.
around yourself and your family.
Or just integrating what you've talked around earlier around your different bodies, your light body, your spirit, staying very clear and uncluttered in that space, or radical trust.
Yeah. You know, when people ask me about protection, I always say, well, are you asking me because you're afraid, or are you asking me to amplify your field? So that's what I do. I amplify my field.
Yeah.
If you do it from fear, then there's no protection, right? Because you're running fear, right?
Yeah.
So we want to do it from holding the highest vibration, or being the highest frequency that we can be. And if we hold that highest frequency, that actually is like a beacon, right? When you have a beacon and others notice it, then they naturally begin to elevate their frequency to that higher light. So that's but the practice, instead of feeling, oh, I need protection, instead of having rituals around protection, is just holding the highest frequency of light. And I teach this to my kids, and actually meditate with them every day.
Yeah.
So we work on different things every day. They're 11 and 13, and we work at the multidimensional level. I always tell them, the mind creates whatever you want.
Yeah.
So the mind would direct everything else. So whatever you hold in your mind, or whatever thoughts and stories you have in your mind, it's what's going to show up in your reality. So they know how to work with that aspect. And I mean, they're still young and they're still learning this. They also know when they're off. They know when their spirit is not in their body. And I ask them to bring it back. I often take them to expos when I do expos, and they each have a role, but we do it very holistically. One of my daughters, my oldest daughter, she's the anchor. So she becomes the tree. She grounds all the energy. My son is the tech person. He works the machine, but he's also clearing the exchange of energy and the exchange of money. Money, or the energy attached to money. And then my youngest daughter, she's the one that kind of schedules everybody to work with me. So she's also kind of like the
So cute.
sort of like the first level of defense, or she's kind of getting them ready, right? And then when they come to me, obviously I do the deeper work, but everybody has a role and they understand their roles. But even before we actually start, I prepare them. Like, we get into that deep state, we amplify our field, we get into an alignment, we set the intention for the space, and that's the protection.
Yeah.
The intention, the alignment, the amplification of our field, and them connecting to their higher self and that higher identity.
No, I can feel
That's
the power
magic.
in that too. You're like not just saying to your child, okay, your job today is, it's like, okay, we're going to amplify your gifts and we're going to utilize them today so we can all,
Work in coherence,
oh, it's
and
just so
everyone
beautiful.
be a part
Yeah.
of the work moving object. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody around us feels it. They'll feel everybody else's energy, and it together and independent of each other. And it's very beautiful and powerful to see that the space that we hold is very loving and very compassionate, but it's also it's very powerful and intentional, so that when people come in, they're coming in, but they're letting go of the story, and then they can move to the next level.
Oh, I
Amazing.
love that.
What I feel too, hearing you say that,
Let
like
go
my
of the
children grew
story.
up in my business thing too, and Joe's a grandmother. Like, children are very, the magic of children is in your life it's a beautiful gift. But what I feel too is having your children and all working in unity like that. It's almost a little bit disarming for the people who are attracted to you to come and work with you, being drawn towards you, and having that process of all your children involved in the steps towards you and doing the deeper work. It's like they're laying down, as you say, letting go of their stories even as they're walking through each child. It's like,
Yeah.
it's totally like unprepared for this child.
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready. When they come to me, they're ready.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's really interesting, because as we're talking, I remember the last event we were at, and there was a person that he was very stoic at the beginning, and then as we started working together, his whole emotions that came to the surface, and my son came over. he asked my son if he could get him some tissue. So they went and get him some tissue. And my son kept holding the space for him, just very calm, and my daughters as well. And we got a beautiful, beautiful follow-up from him saying how safe he felt being in that space, that was the first time he had ever gone so deep and allow his emotions to come, to the surface in that way. So he was so gracious about it and felt very honored to be. He was really talking about my kids and had the space that they held for him. So that was amazing. It was amazing for me to hear. Uh,
So beautiful.
but I feel like the lesson in this is that when we remember and when we practice and when we hold that space and when we know that it's possible, we know that we're free and sovereign, that we can be in any space and we can hold space for anyone to feel safe and to heal, to naturally heal, because we are just facilitating it. They come, we create the space and we're facilitating. But in reality, people come in and they heal themselves. It's that readiness, it's that willingness, it's that desire. We're just kind of guiding them through that process. So when we can be that for ourselves, and then we can be that for others, is amazing. And as a practice, and a practice doing every day, we're anchoring that into Mother Earth as well. So we're going beyond ourselves and beyond the people around us and beyond the people that we serve. We're extending that to Mother Earth.
So beautiful.
That's I just want to sit in that for a moment, because that is all embracing. It's like the ultimate mother hug, isn't it?
Oh. We are coming to
Thank you.
We are coming to a close, but I do want to ask one important question. I'd love your view on this, just to end and close things out. But how do you, Maria, see the world right now, and what do you see next for us?
Well, I see the world full with possibility. I do a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of sort of like, when you think about the government, they have the Navy SEALs and they have their special forces that go and do work that we really don't know it's happening, right? So I do that kind of work at the spiritual galactic level, holding the space, guardian, protecting, architecting for humanity and really Mother Earth. And I feel like where we are now is such a great opportunity, not just because we've done such amazing work already, and more of us are already awake, and more of us are stepping into our gifts, and more of us are stepping into embodiment and into alignment, that it's becoming so much easier for us to live the life and create the reality and heal, not ourselves, facilitate for others, and heal Mother Earth. So for me, it's just really very exciting. It's such a beautiful place to be, a very powerful place to be, because all of this is facilitating itself for us, and it feels so much available to us, and for everyone, even if we're not even if we say, well, I don't have those gifts, or I'm not trained to do that. It's the awareness, it's the knowing, it's the beingness, it's who we want to be as a person in this world, and the frequency that we want to hold, and where we want to play. If we want to play and everything is possible, peace is available, community is available, unity is available, then we're already moving in the right direction. We're already winning. And the more of us that do that, the ascension process accelerates for a lot of us. I mean, I see us moving into a place where we're all supernatural, where there's none or very little interference, where they're all those interferences that came in and have sabotaged the lineage, the DNA, our lines, that disruption is virtually non-existent, all completely gone. And that we are the masters of our destiny. We're sovereign beings, and we're living from the place of creation. So that's where I see us going.
There's one little
that space too.
There's one little question that just sneaked in there when you said around the DNA, sabotaging the DNA, because there's talk around evolving from the current strands of DNA to like 12 strands of DNA. Is that part of the process of becoming supernatural to reclaim our sovereignty in that genetic space and expansion?
Absolutely. Yeah, so the 12, the 24, and the 48 strands. So
Wow.
moving into this space, yeah, of activating all of who we are, and then all the data and the codes that are in our DNA, and activating, because a lot of so the 12, the 24, the 48, it's the coding from all the incarnations, not just in this earth, but everywhere else. And it's beautiful, powerful technology that we currently don't have access to. So
Yeah.
as we move through your ascension, and as we move intentionally, and as we move freely as sovereign beings, and as we embody everything that we are and the truth that we are, and we hold that higher consciousness.
Mm.
So the higher consciousness is the door and the awakening and the keys to all of that. And the good and the contribution, the service that we do for the world, for humanity through that consciousness.
Oh. Let's just stay there for a moment too.
Yeah.
That's I think that's what we all everybody has awareness, but the ones that are really going for it right now, that space that you talked about, it just you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel the truth in that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it actually brings up emotion for me, but it's like, yeah, it's an exciting place.
That true feeling of coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just saw a picture of when you said your feeling of coming home in this beautiful place filled with light, and your hands are up in the air, and you're just, I'm home. And then I see your luminous body as pure plasmic energy, your consciousness, expanded and fully aware access to your infinite knowledge and wisdom.
Oh.
I love that.
That's so beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
Oh, my
Oh,
word for this year, Maria, has been transcendence, not because I want to leave the planet, but because of where I want to elevate my energies. And I think you just took me there.
Beautiful.
yay.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
it's
you,
been an
darling.
honor, Maria, to sit with you today. I know there's so many different places that
My
we could have
pleasure.
gone today too.
Yes. Perhaps
It's
another time if
yeah,
we're blessed enough to
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
yeah, it's been a real honor to sit with you, and I've loved every minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. We're going to leave your links for everybody in the notes, but is
Mm.
there anything that you'd like to share for our listeners about,
Mm.
we like to steer them to you at an expo or your website or podcast?
Sessions.
Yeah. What
Mm.
would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. My website, evolve360.online and 360prosperity.com. My programs are there: Evolve, Health, Divine Body Code, Wealth, Consciousness Experiment. Those are the three programs. I also have a retreat coming up in Texas, so Houston, Texas. And it's the activating and awakening the universal light within you, activating the womb, healing the womb, but bringing in the universal essence of who you are, the mastery and the codes. So it's the awakening the codes within you as a divine feminine. And then right after that, I have quantum prosperity. It's an emergent class where we're going into exactly what we're talking about: wealth, in the multidimensions of wealth, and unlocking the knowing in that wealth consciousness, and activating the frequencies of wealth, abundance, and prosperity. So that's what's coming up. But I also offer discovery calls and one-on-one sessions.
Oh,
If anybody's interested in learning more about themselves, what the direction could be, the discovery call would be the best place to go. Or if they're ready to work with me, one-on-one session, and they can book it on my website.
yay.
Yeah,
Oh
thank
my
you.
goodness.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
so
you.
much
Yeah.
offerings. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for today. We've
Thank
loved
you both. I
every
appreciate you.
Much love.
Same here. Thank you so much. It was an honor, my pleasure.